Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Under Construction, the show where I ramble for 2 hours about nothing in particular, and in the meantime place happy little trees, and roads, and railroads. And it has been some time since we've had an episode, so I'd like to bring everyone up to speed. If you didn't watch the podcast, I was in Italy for a couple of weeks, and that is the primary reason why I haven't gotten anything done, but also because Tane went a little berserk on me, and the entire ground disappeared. I could see straight through the world. Fortunately, that seems to have fixed itself, but this is the last episode that I will be producing on my current hard drive and graphics card, which replacements are sitting in boxes next to me, and I'm going to have TJ come around and install them, or help me install them, I suppose, because I'm not quite confident enough to do it myself. Probably tomorrow. So, by the time this video comes out, I may be on new hardware. But, I digress. There's a couple of other, what would be the word for it? I almost want to say clerical things to take care of first. And some updates as to where we are on the map, and what Trains has been up to lately. And, what else? There was something else rather important. Oh yeah, YouTube. So, first and foremost, you'll notice there is no sound in the background of this episode. I have been kind of fed up with the stupid copyright claims from that band that, I don't know, nobody's ever heard of. And while I've been winning some of them, the effort is just not there. If not having the music is a deal breaker for anyone, then I will reinstate it, because it's not that big of a deal to me. But if it's not the end of the world, then I'm just not going to include it, because honestly, it's just a pain in the butt right now. Good news, however, is, if you haven't noticed, the track has made it all the way to Mason's Landing, and we have Mason's Landing, in a general sense. We have a yard and turntable and engine house and engine servicing facilities. The basics of a road network, which is kind of all we're going to have because it's a very small town. And a couple of industries which we've started settling out here in the beginning of this branch line. I was going to do something else with this, but I think it's going to stay as is. So, I'm not going to be going down this way for some time. And primarily what I think I should be working on today is this area here and getting some scenery in and stuff like that. Because I've been running trains back and forth in my spare time, and honestly, it's kind of boring without anything to look at. So, we're going to be doing some grass and trees, primarily. For starters, I just have to start laying down the grass splines. I am being smart and putting them down ahead of time this time, because last time I did not, and it cost me a little bit of aggravation. I'm going to do my best with making sure grass is covering pretty much everything, and honestly, I should probably get some some grass objects, because they usually perform better than splines. Splines are nice and easy, but they're not the best in terms of what you can do. There's a reason why I moved away from tree splines, and there's a reason why, like I just said, I want to get away from grass splines as well, to an extent. They're definitely very useful, but grass objects are good for you. At any rate, to bring everyone up to speed on the current debacle with trains, with Hotfix 1, there have been some interesting and particularly frustrating AI bugs, because they don't really care for track marks anymore. They don't like to sort of recount that they are receiving commands or passing track marks or anything like that. So I am left sort of high and dry with regards to automation. I started trying to automate the session, and I spent far, far too long on it, trying to troubleshoot it, and then I learned that it was a problem with the current release. So hopefully they're back from their winter break, and they're working on it right now. But until that gets resolved, I can't do any actually playing around with the AI, and this is supposed to be mostly a building show anyways. Oh, that's right, I need to get the old episode out. So give me just a moment, let me grab that. I have been a little bit lax on paying attention to comments lately. I apologize for that. But like I said, I've been out of the country. Alright, where is my... I need to go to my channel, so... My channel, there. I'm a little bit out of practice, as you might figure. A Ridge and a Valley was the last episode. So, the only comment here is Mason P saying you should be able to use an interlocking tower to control the bridge and boat traffic under it so you don't dunk the train or slam a boat into the bridge. I did that by accident. I found out during my automation procedures that I can set things up, or, that I can set the bridge up to be down in time no matter what, which is particularly awesome and particularly good. And I'm probably going to be taking advantage of that. I'm going to keep the grass off of this peninsula. I'm going to probably make it a little treeless. For now. We can start moving the trees in, speaking of which. We can also start texturing this area here. It should be a little bit muddy. Hey, Big Muddy. I'd be amazed if anyone knows what that's from. I am #1 with the stupid, relatively useless references. Korea #1. I'm going to do my best to organize this in such a way that the trees look good. I don't care if I put some on top of the track. What I'll just do is I'll clean up the ones that are in the way. The thing I don't want to do is put down the thing I don't want to do is put down oh, that didn't work. Texture over the texture that's already there. Now, hypothetically, if all was right with the world, I would be doing the background texture first. But I have a habit of not doing that. So, it doesn't really matter to me here. I'm going to do it like that, real quick, so that we can overlay some trees. Yeah, I guess that works fine. We've got some trees in the way of the track, so let's do some cleanup work. Whoops, I don't want to get rid of the grass line, which I may have. Okay, I did not. I just want to get rid of trees that are too close to the... Nope. Get rid of that. That was something I was trying to troubleshoot for somebody else, and I cannot wrap my head around how that stupid thing works. I am worried about the game crashing, because I just saw a tree flicker, and that was normally... Back in the days of delinquent speed trees, that was the warning that things were about to go very south very quickly. I'm going to place some more trees. I should still have the random rotation on. I want to go back to copy paste. Just grab this and overlay trees right there. There, that's some dense forest. I'll do it this way, turn this sideways. Put that there. And then there. It's like, what can I get away with in terms of putting stuff down? Most of the map that we're working on is going to be forested, so it's going to be mostly this. Admittedly, it doesn't have to look gorgeous. It just has to look good. Okay, let's do this. Why am I bothering? Don't really know. But you know what? That doesn't look half bad. And I think we need a little bit more grass up here. I guess I could see the non-grass portion, and I would like to not. I haven't been all that excited about the things in Trains Next, the dev diaries and stuff like that, but having texture that has grass on top of it is something that's very cool to me. I've seen some people, like in the fan chat, the Terminus fan chat, talking about me, oh, well, I'm going to have to redo this or that. I'm not really planning on going back and redoing anything unless something specifically is asked, which nothing's really been asked lately. So I don't really have any plans to go back and do anything or redo anything. But that always could change. So we got a little ways down the coast. I just want to finish up this riverbank to back here, and then we'll worry about sort of pushing scenery to the coast here, which we've got railroad tracks and a pair of roads. Maybe I should add something like here, but these guys already have an intersection down here. Kind of a complicated one at that. Maybe what I could do is add like a little dirt road there. Maybe it makes sense. This I extended all the way to the back of the layout and put some grass, or edge of the map I should say, and put some grass there. It climbs the hill. I need to be wary of that if I ever build it. Actually, there's not going to be anything over here. This is effectively the edge of the map. It's as edge of the map gets. And I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. This all is taken care of. I added a new tile here because we could see the edge, and I need to do some work on that. That is a priority for today. But we have a whole lot of world to make. We have a whole lot to build. And if there's any thoughts, ideas, questions, concerns, I want to see them down in the comments. Because I only have so much in me in terms of creativity, and I do have a lot of map to deal with. Technical stuff aside, I like having everyone's input in terms of, oh, you should build this, you should build this. Because the map is going to be huge. There's room enough for a whole lot. I'm going to put a little sandbar on the edge of this. Maybe I'll put some stuff here. I don't think this area would be tidal at all. It's too far upstream. The stream itself is a little bit narrow to be tidal. But let's grab some grass, push the edge towards the stream. There we go. Now, I'm not concerned about the automation stuff being fixed eventually, but it is worth noting that that's probably stuff I'm going to be doing off camera because it's going to be mostly leisure work. Back when I originally started my Trains series back, in Trains 2006 on the Geiger Mountains, I spent an awful lot of time I spent most of my time playing with automation. And if you guys want to see more of that, absolutely by all means I'll do it. But it's not the thing that's really, in my mind right now. I can spend an awful lot of time doing that. I can go down a hell of a rabbit hole trying to make the map run itself when things actually work properly. But that is a rabbit hole that I would not like to disappear down on the periods during the periods in time where I'm supposed to be actually building the map, which is what these 2 hours a week are for. It really is a situation of, oh, well, I have to force myself to do this. It's not that bad. It's not the end of the world that that this is what it comes to, so to speak. I'm certainly not struggling to get this done, except for when I'm strapped for time. which happens from time to time. But, I get a lot of, how do you keep working on, the same thing? It's because I tell myself I have to do it. And to some extent, yeah, it makes sense that you don't want to continue working on a project that your heart isn't in. And that's totally fair. Trains is supposed to be, it's a simulator, but it's a game. It's something that you should have fun playing and not have to, and not make it your only purpose to come here for work. And I totally understand when my response is, well, you just have to force yourself to do it, and they say, and the response is, but why? Why would I force myself to do that? And the fact of the matter is, yeah, it can be a little bit arduous. It can be just a huge time sink and a whole lot of effort to get something that's worth running. But you have to balance it out between, do I want to make this? Do I really want to sort of give up making this? Uh-oh, what's that? Uh-oh. Hold on one second. Okay. I lost my train of thought. I got a text message. But anyways, apologies for that. Yeah, you have to balance the wanting to not do it and the wanting the finished product, because I feel like it wouldn't be out of line to suggest that the reason that somebody comes to build a route is so that you have a route at the end of it, so that you have something to run. I definitely started working on Tolbrin so that I had what the finished product will be, which will be a huge, oops, I'll leave it like that. Which will be not unfathomably large, but a very large route as far as routes go. And that can be operated in multiplayer and can operate itself in a lot of ways. So, whoops. No, I didn't want to connect anything. The idea is that you want that finished product, or at the very least, you want some sort of thing that you can play with along the way. Or you're just here to build, in which case there shouldn't really be that much trouble with forcing yourself to build. But the thing I always think about is you've got so much route. There's so much that you could hypothetically work on that it's easy to get lost in, oh, well, I'll do this and I'll do this and I'll do this. I for this map, am taking things in chunks. I wouldn't be lying if I said that I think the best way to do it is to either take things in chunks, where you're not working on a huge portion at once, or to take things in even smaller increments, like a single tile at a time. Because that means you get the sense of accomplishment often, often enough to keep you going, and you get to look at something fairly early on. And it's a small enough piece that if you don't like... What the hell was that? That was I literally just got texted an advertisement. Thanks, Verizon. It was from them. I don't need this. Anyways. Yep, I've lost it again. I need to just stop looking at my phone. I always will get distracted when that goes off. I know I don't keep the sound on anymore because it's too distracting, and it honestly got kind of annoying. But I mean, I have the sound for the ringer on, but not for any messages, especially with 20,000 Skype groups. Anyways, I digress. If you're coming here to build, you shouldn't have too much trouble building. But if you're coming here to get a route to run, put together a route to run because you have inspiration, you want to be running through a certain area, then you just have to, you have to buckle down. You have to, if you really want that area to run in, if you really want that route to run on, and it's not, available on the download station or available for purchase somewhere, there isn't a surrogate that somebody else has made that you can get your hands on and enjoy yourself with, then that's what you have to do. You have to take things one piece at a time, and when you get to your destination, you get there. I don't know. I always feel like it's worth it. Yeah, I do have to set aside time specifically for this where I'm not allowed to do anything else. But I do feel like it's worth it because I've already gotten a lot of mileage out of Tolbrand and just running up and down the coast. And I think I've overdone it maybe because I've been doing that run and it's like, wow, this does take a little while. It's 15 minutes approximately between the two destinations. And I am honestly I'm honestly a little bit impressed with that. Just over the fact that, okay, now I have this much track. I have enough track that it takes this amount of time between important locations. And I've never had that on any other route. I've never had a route that's that expansive. I've had routes that big, but you would go through a bunch of other locations in that span of time, and in this case you don't. In this case you're kind of in the great wide open, where there's nothing to do except run flat out. And I feel like that's something that's missing in so many trains routes. Like I said, it has its downsides because it's a long way to go, and when I was testing stuff and having it run from one place to another, it was kind of a, wow, when is this going to get here sort of feeling. And when I run stuff, it's like, oh, we are halfway there. Alright. We're getting somewhere, but we're not there yet. This riverbank doesn't have any grass on it. Maybe I should rearrange these trees a little bit. Because right now they're extremely uniform. Just make it big. There we go. That's better. We are definitely getting there. How far are we now? We are almost at the cliffs. Now these are the spots where I'm going to have to pay a little bit more attention to my texturing, because before I was just sort of tossing trees and texture down. I do want to put more sand along the edge here. See, when you build terrain before anything else, and when you build it randomly, when you build it, with not much mind to how it's turning out other than the general sense of, okay, is the hill and valley in the right place? Is the elevation change in the right place? When you're not worried about that, you end up with these situations where now you can texture based on, that doesn't really look good. This is a little bit better. You can texture based on what the terrain actually looks like, instead of figuring, okay, so this is going to be here and it's going to look like this, instead of predetermining it, which again has its pros and cons. I think there are some upsides to figuring out everything ahead of time, but if you're not getting that nitpicky with, okay, so here there's going to be a turn, it's going to do this, it's going to go over itself, it's going to go through a tunnel here, you know, at milepost 37.5 there's going to be a bridge that's 500 meters long and, you know, stands, I don't know, 50 feet above the river at its highest point. I don't know, I feel like there's, that's all well and good, because it means that, okay, now you know what to do. You don't have to spend time deliberating. But at the same time, it doesn't allow you to walk into a situation and be like, oh, this looks like this would belong here. I mean, there's certainly a happy medium. I don't like going into a route without any idea. But, you know, A, to each their own. B, there's something to be said about this map being one of my favorites, certainly. Although then again, what map isn't their favorite when they start working on it? You know, when you start working on it. If you go into a map figuring it's not as good as some other one, you're probably not going to be very happy with it in the end anyways. But this is both probably my favorite map that I've ever built, just due to what it is and what it entails, and at the same time, it's also the one where I went in with so rough of a plan, I could almost hardly call it that. And more to the point, I went in with a plan, a very rough plan, and I've only slightly stuck to it. Olive was really just supposed to be a place to get wood, and it was never supposed to have a branch line, or I certainly didn't plan for it to have one. It was never supposed to have any mills to itself. All that milling was supposed to be elsewhere. And I had no idea as to what it was going to look like. Compare the Timberl's Vale and Anaconda, where I had pre-drawn maps of all the towns ahead of time. And I still ended up doing very different things with that than I had planned. For example, the whole 2-foot gauge was not at all something that I had come up with ahead of time. It was not something that I had even considered putting in the map. And I started working on it, and suddenly it felt like it belonged. You know, it felt right, in a manner of speaking. So that's something to watch out for when you're putting together one of these maps. Yeah, don't fall in love with your plan, and while that may be important, always have the opportunity to add something. Now, it's okay to have a couple rules, I would figure. It's okay to have some things you are dead set about, so to speak, or at the least certain that things will be this way or that. For example, I know there is not going to be any functional narrow gauge on this map. While it could be interesting to include, I don't think it's worth it for me. Don't get me wrong, I love narrow gauge, but part of the wonderful, you know, I hesitate to call it brilliance, because it's not, but part of the functionality of this map is the fact that anything can go anywhere because everything is interconnected. There are 3 distinct railroads and 1 tramway, but everything is standard gauge, and for the most part, everything is compatible with everything else. The tramway is a little bit loose on its facilities for steam engines. They do not have very many. And only in Gilson City is there electric overhead, and on the tramway. So you can't take your average tramway engine, which is probably an electric, out onto the Volga Mountains and run it up the hill. Also, they aren't directly connected, but that's beside the point. The fact of the matter is, if you have a freight car somewhere and you need it somewhere else, you can take it there. And that's really what I'm getting at. It's less about the engines, even though the engines are important. But the motive power really takes a back seat to, okay, we've got X amount of cars, and they belong where they belong at places where they're needed. I've talked about my spreadsheets an awful lot, and if there's anything I really love about this map so far, it's the amount of thought that I've had to put into the logistics for it, and all things considered, it's not been that much. I don't have very much done, I just more or less have a framework for what I can do, and for what I need to do. That said, I'm missing one thing that's extremely significant. So, the spreadsheets as they currently exist, they describe a handful of things, including locomotive rosters for all 4 railroads, and the beginnings of equipment rosters for all 4 railroads. So 3 on the tramway, I guess. Don't know why I didn't count it as a railroad earlier, but it is. And it also counts where things are needed, where things are consumed, where things are produced, and is the beginning of what I call the industry and yard balance, which makes sure that the amount of stuff that is produced and consumed on the map is balanced with itself and what's being brought in and out. Now, here's the problem with this. I only have counted so far the quantity of product. I have not yet gotten into the real important numbers, which, yes, while I have carloads written as a real important number, so to speak, the thing I don't have is actual cars. So, carloads is based on a preferred rail car, because there are different cars that carry different amounts. For example, a carload of coal in one of the hoppers may be 60,000 units of coal, and in one of the other hoppers it may be about 79,000. So you have to pick, I had to pick, which one is going to be the defining carload, which one am I going to use for my calculations. And I did that, and it's coming out all right, it makes sense, it works, but it doesn't actually describe the number of cars necessarily that I need. Nor does it describe those cars, really, as what they are, what they're being moved in, or moved on, how they're getting from place to place. I don't have too many places right now, but that's something that will come up, the number of places. The real important thing here, the thing that I'm missing, the thing that's going to make my life a whole lot harder, and possibly require yet another full restructuring of the spreadsheets, is empties. For every full car, you need an empty car. And the easy thing to say would be that the empties will be moved on trains that are opposite. But the idea is, how do you notate that? How do you plan that, mark that down, make that something that's in the spreadsheet? Because that starts to turn into a whole other problem. The problem of empties. Because right now the only carloads that I've notated are ones that are fulls. That said, you can't really do empties until you have a destination for everything. Because you need to know where the empties are coming from. And empties can only come from being offloaded somewhere. Whoa. So, that said, I will have to probably do a secondary yard balance where instead of doing it by commodity, I'm going to have to do it by, specifically by railcar. And that will make things interesting. It'll make things particularly interesting. Now, the idea is when everything is in full swing, in a world where the map is being run by several people or by AI. Well, when it's being run by AI, it's pretty simple to figure that everything will be very regimented, and there won't be any leeway, and cars will be exactly predetermined. But if it's being run by people, that may not be the case, because you could just follow what the AI is supposed to do, which would be the ideal situation. But on the other hand, if you are a human, you're probably going to be running things a little bit differently. So, you'll have to catch up. Well, you have to keep up with the AI, which I'm going to keep them sort of slow, so that if you were to take the place of one, it wouldn't be the end of the world. You wouldn't have to rush. Of course, there'd be different jobs on the map that you'd have to do. Jobs of different difficulty, based on what kind of schedule you'd have to keep. That being said, I just am sort of realizing these things as I go along and talk about them here. I am thinking about the fact that under an ideal scenario, the thing I would love to have happening is that the map is completely automated. This is what I want to do in Geiger Mountains, by the way. The map is completely automated, and when you pick a session where you have to do a job, then it's essentially the same as the base session where everything's automated except for one train, which would be the one that you're operating. The multiplayer session, on the other hand, would be a session in which basically none of the trains are being operated, and you can do whatever you want. Or there could be variations of multiplayer sessions where only certain trains are not being operated. Or there's a multiplayer session where every train is automated, and you would just pick one and delete the driver's schedule and take over. That would probably be the easiest one to accomplish because it would just be the base session with a multiplayer rule. But it would be probably one of the more difficult ones to use or to play around with, because there would be no way for me to know what train is going to have to be player controlled. What train is going to be the one that's going to need specific human written instructions, written for a human. With the other ones, I can say, okay, you're in charge of this train, and here's your orders. Here's your train orders. Go here, do this. You would have to know what that train is doing when you picked it up. Then there's a happy medium. There's got to be a happy medium. There's got to be a scenario where certain trains are operating, because you don't want the world to be lifeless. So the ideal thing in my head would be, make the portals make some stuff that is otherwise essential, but obviously it's not the end of the world if some industries aren't served, or all the industries aren't served. Have the portals, or the staging yards, I guess it would be, make things that are otherwise essential, stuff that has to come from off map, but at the same time, make it all run through, first of all, so it wouldn't stop anywhere necessarily. And make them also produce all of the passenger trains. So you have passenger traffic to contend with, or take over if you want. But the really down to the hard tacks, like shunting AI, that isn't happening. The freight trains aren't functioning as freight trains, they're functioning as background, where you could pull one aside and grab things off of it if you needed to. That'd probably be the best for a multiplayer session. Whereas a single player session, you could get away with that as well. But a single player session, you can either have a guided one, which is just like all the ones that are built into the game, where it's like, okay, you are in charge of train number blah blah blah, these are your tasks, you have to do them in this amount of time. So, not even in this amount of time, but these are your tasks, you have to do them. So, that sort of leaves me with a bunch of options. Obviously, the foremost, most important thing that I will have to do for any of these is start the automation process and get as many trains automated as possible. Now, I talked about the fact that with the way I want to do trains, and I have to go back and relook at this once track marks and stuff start working again. The way I want to do trains, portals don't really cut it. I can do portals for the passenger trains easy enough, but the thing that I cannot do is set up portals that produce the freight trains exactly as I want them. So that means I have to have an automated freight train assembling machine. And I've talked about this a lot before. I've talked about it quite in depth. I even went and sort of showed it off a little bit, I think. But in order to do that, now there are a couple of commands that are really useful. One of which is the couple at track mark command, which is a godsend, and I'm going to make a lot of use out of it. And then there is also the wait for time command, which is extremely useful because I thought I was going to have to build some sort of jerry-rigged clock that would release trains at certain times, but I do not have to do that. All I have to do is use a special rule which makes trains wait until a specific time and then leave. So that makes things a lot easier for me than I had originally thought, but I still have to build I think I dubbed it the train stacker after what they call rail yards in Factorio. So we have that's what we have to do. And that is something that I'm going to have to work on quite significantly, as a matter of fact. Because it's not on the map yet. It's something that I may or may not build separately and then merge. Because it's something that maybe I can build to be universal, or at the very least easily expandable, and then when I merge it in, it'll be, I can merge it in at all three areas. See, there are three areas that are going to need staging yards. One to the north, one to the south, and one, that's way too big. One to the north, one to the south, and one to the east. So we're going to have north and south staging, and then east staging. Move these guys. Spread them out a little bit because they're a little bit jammed together. There we go. We're getting there. This is cute. It's not the best thing I've made, but I think it's cute. It's getting somewhere. So, and we're not even working on stuff that's along the railroad tracks. That is stuff that I wanted to work on. But nonetheless, this area is part of the map, and that means I do have to pay it attention. That's another thing. I'm paying way too much attention to this area. If you are someone who is looking to make a map and is looking for sort of encouragement or is looking for the way to do it, this is not necessarily the way you need to do it. Like I said, taking things one tile at a time is really important. But, do keep in mind, if you don't care all that much about how every single tile looks, you can really skimp on ones that are distant from the track. Or areas that you just can't see from the track. When you're building a world in trains, you're really building a set that you're driving a train through. You don't have to go all out on areas that the audience, you, or any other driver, won't see. I, on the other hand, love doing that because, in my head, this is a whole world that we're working in. That we're working, living, playing in. And it's full of people, and it's full of, stuff, interesting stuff. It's a little waterfall. I want waterfall effects. Let's see if I can grab some. I mean, this is fine. Oh, and it's got sound. Okay, it's a little bit too much. That's a lot of waterfall. Okay, that's a little bit too much as well. The falls aren't 100 feet tall, it's just a little piece of rapids. Goodness gracious. This is a sound thing, isn't it? Whatever. It doesn't seem to want to work. Let's see. Do we have anything else? We have the 50-meter waterfall. Just a 20-meter horizontal stream. I'll just put this here. I kind of wanted some waterfall effects, but that's fine, and we get the sounds, which we can hear from miles away for some reason. Is this another one? No, it's flat. But we are... Okay, we're back here. Let me zoom out. So we did this area, we did this coastline here. That wasn't that bad. It only took us about 50 minutes to do that small area of coastline. But there was a lot of rambling involved. So we need to continue, and we need to go this way, because the thing I really want to see is this area done up well enough that I can take some nice scenic shots over it. The other thing is this power line. I like it. It's a little bit Avera, but we do have another... Unfortunately, the other kind of power line that we have doesn't match with the substation, which is over there. These first two power poles in the series are actually part of the substation asset, so there's not really an easy way for me to go, I'll just change that. Alright, so this is not an industry, if I recall correctly. The industry is here. Crap, let's leave. Okay. So, it's nice to see the other side of this. Oh, you know what? Let me clear the content search filter. There. It's nice to see the other side of this done up a little bit. It's gonna feel better and better the farther we go, because it's going to bounce your bow because it's going to look better and better. It's going to start to really stick out at us, like, oh, this area is starting to look good. Right now it's just some tracks, but that is going to change. So let's get all the grass on first, in areas where the grass belongs. Or at least mostly, because honestly, if we miss a spot or two, it's not really a big deal. Let's put this over here. Everything is gonna be fine. Everything's gonna be just fine. These bridges are looking good. Just let's wait and see when they, Oh, you know what? This is another flat-ish area. I'm gonna move the grass up and make another little beachy bit. There we go. We're gonna put some sand down there. This, on the other hand, is a little bit more, a little bit rougher. I think we can get away with that being some dirt and rocks. This embankment as well. I'm not really concerned about how this embankment is going to look, but it's going to look like something. Yeah, we're going to have 3 bridges in a row that we can probably see, yeah, through here. Although when we have the trees here, we'll only barely be able to see that one. And the 2 road bridges, which you can see those from the water, from the ocean. Then we'll get up here where we've got more bridges. But let's see. Okay, so we still need to continue with this grass. I'm fantasizing about what the world is going to look like and not actually putting it together. Which, that's another trap to fall into. Be very careful. The more you talk about something, the less the chances are that you're actually going to get it done. Because talking about something actually gives that gratification of getting it done without you having to do anything. You know, it's totally a mental thing. It may or may not make sense, but it's just the way your brain works. So, this whole series where I'm talking about getting this done is a little bit counterintuitive because I do still have to do it. So, I like to talk about it while I'm working on it. That way I don't fall into the trap of, well, I talked about it. I talked about it quite a lot today. Okay, okay, so under the bridge, it's all water under the fridge. I do need to get all the grass underneath the bridge here, because it would look kind of dumb without it. How do we do it over here? Oh yeah, we just used regular grass. Nothing else special. Alright, so we can probably fill this area with trees now. There shouldn't really be anything else that sticks out at me as a, hey, we've got to get this done, except for maybe this, which we need to figure out where these power poles are going. I would figure... I don't want them to be an eyesore, especially to this river crossing. So... I don't know, what would be an easy spot for these? Because they're going to want to go in a dead straight line. That's the thing about power poles. They really don't have a care in the world for terrain. And honestly, they should continue in this direction. So I don't know. I think I might just make things easy. And because where would the power plant be? I think I might just make this easy and turn them this way. And send them off that way. And then these guys, I don't know if they need a substation or not. I would assume not. Then just route that along there. Which would make sense because it would probably follow the highway corridor more or less. The high voltage lines. And largely what I'm doing is just saying, we'll do this somewhere else. Which is going to get... Sorry. It's going to catch up with me sooner or later. But for now, I'm content with saying, yeah, we'll do this somewhere else. I don't want it to go by here, though. This area is supposed to be scenic, too. I mean, we have to get over it and put them somewhere. The highway goes this way. But they wouldn't want to get them anywhere near the estuary. Wait, would this way work? This way sort of works. I really need to stop with the texts. Stop texting me. Where are they coming? Where's it coming? I need to just build it. So, let me grab the power line B spline. Okay, so that's as long as they can actually go without anything. I don't want them to disrupt this view. So I think I might just send them this way. Let's put a tower here. Another one here. We'll just go straight to the edge of the map. Right there. Yeah, see, power lines do not care about the terrain they're going over, anything like that. Oh, crap. There we go. But they should be done, we should be doing them up with this and this grass, because that is what we've pretty much set as the standard for being underneath power lines. And a little bit less wide than this. We'll redo it later if it really matters that much. Or if it crosses an area where it matters that much, I should say. Whoop! Ah! I knew that was about to happen. I did nothing to stop it. Alright. Let's continue in this direction. It's the first texture out here. Well, except for the tree. Copy-pasting. And this line, which I think is made of the same texture. Because I just grabbed it as something that would be a little bit different. Yeah, it is. There we go. And this line, which was supposed to be a ridge line, it didn't really turn out to be. So, again, don't fall in love with your first concepts. Let the random nature of construction take you. I can encroach on the edge of this a little bit. Wouldn't be the end of the world. Hopefully I'm not missing by that much. Should be a pretty much straight line, so better not F this up. Even though we're going over these hills. The moment we come over a hill, it's going to go a little bit out of control. Yeah, I missed by a lot. Damn it! Whatever, it's fine. Close enough. Should just line up with the cardinal direction and go forward slowly. Slightly. Carefully. I've never built a map with power lines before. I'm not sure I've even really built a map with telegraph lines before. I never cared that much. I mean, the Iron Oarsman Railroad had them, but I wasn't the one who put most of them in. I know I gotta clean up this power line right of way. I need to keep all the trees out of it. Out of it, I said. It's okay if it's extra wide. That's kind of what it's supposed to be. Any trees touch these lines, it's going to be problems, so. Okay. I'm deep in thought deleting trees. It's not that complicated. It's really not. I just have to click where the branches are too close to the power line. And where the base of the tree is on this section of weird mottled greenish. And then I have to not be stupid and not put more trees back. There. These guys are all too close. If you look down the way, you can actually see what's too close and what's not pretty easily. There we go. Alright. I should do more with the moving the trees out of the way, because at least then I can sort of fill in any bald spots in the forest with the extra trees instead of just getting rid of them all. But I do have to get rid of a lot of them. It's too many trees for me to repurpose elsewhere. If I really need a tree somewhere else that's far away, and I think I've deleted too many over here, I have infinite trees. I can make as many as I want. Kane would probably disagree with me strongly, with my computer as backup. But I have a backup, so he can disagree with me all at once. The backup conveniently exists on the computers of all my friends. And on the DLS. Although it's a little bit out of date at this point. I did put out a private release, I think of 0.29 or something. 0.2.9. Whatever version this is, plus 1. But it was while everything was broken. And think I had to break and disable the AI for that one. Just on purpose. I need to put grass down now. Great. Looking forward to doing that. Well, at least we can get trees out to like here. We're pretty much done with everything that needs to be everywhere. Also, I probably should have placed down the trees before everything else, because now I have to do that again. What I don't need to do again is... Or what else I need to... No, I deleted the power line. Need that back. I just want to get rid of the grass that's infringing. So one thing at a time. There is definitely... And I deleted the power line again. There's definitely an order that's the best. But all things considered, it doesn't matter all that much. Because it's only a little bit of extra time. I deleted the power line again. Stop. There. Then one more deletion. There. That cleans up this power line right of way. And now all we need to do is put strips of grass alongside it. Oops. Put strips of grass alongside it. Put strips of grass inside it. And then start laying trees over everything and then deleting the extra trees. Like we did before. And then painting the ground back. Because when we put the trees in, it's going to delete the ground paint that we have there. Actually, no, it won't. Not if we're smart about it. So we've got to be smart about it. What we've got to do, we've got to turn on the overlay feature instead of the replace feature, because then it will just it'll just lay down like extra on top, or it'll lay down stuff where there isn't anything already for the texture. And it'll leave the rest of the texture alone, I think. I don't actually know if it works that way. Well, we should find out. Just a second. We do need the other kind. Yeah, we need to put this grass in, which is the other different kind of grass. Which is a little bit smaller and a little bit more annoying. That's okay, because who's going to be staring at the power lines that much anyways? Should we probably are when we cross them. You think I should put like a chain link fence along the side of the railroad track where we cross the power lines? I'm not sure if that's a prototype. I don't think it is. Doesn't really make sense that it would be there. Railroad track is already private property. Let's just do this. Admittedly, this is a yard track, too. It's not even a main line. And it's the 1950s. Who's worried about that, really? Okay, so let's keep on rolling. Keep going this way. Whoops, almost knocked the thing over. I guess I'll just fill in grass up to here, because this is as far as we're going with anything right now. The goal is to just get a little bit of scenery each time so that we get a little bit farther. And each time we'll do something varied. We haven't really worked like this in a long time. We've done mostly town for ages and ages and ages, and I will return to working on town at some point. But trust me, I'm as burned out as you guys are with regards to that. If not more, considering I had to do it. So, while we do have more town to build, we will not be building anything on the scale of Olive. Oh, for a very long time, probably. Like I said, Olive is the third largest town on the map, behind Gilson City and Zion, I think? Yeah, Zion. So, yeah. Oh, Mason, if you can do me a favor, because I know you're watching this. If you can do me a favor and just write something down in the comments about the shrub splines you used for the layering technique, that'd be awesome. A moment of truth. Ah, okay. So it still overwrites the texture. I guess it doesn't matter. We'll just redo the texture, it's not that hard. Like so. And let's continue along the coast here. Just sort of redo this with the 5-meter grid or whatever. Also, feel free to say 5-meter grid in your comment. I know you haven't said that a lot lately, so I don't want you to fall short of your 5-meter grid spam quota, because I know you get docked your pay if you don't say that enough. So taking care of business, right up to here. Nothing else interesting is going on. We haven't done grass along the side of this yet. So we need to shift some stuff out of the way. We need to move this here. That's a spline that I just grabbed. I thought I saw out of the corner of my eye that it was a red Quid, because the Quid ID was resting directly on top of a red tree. Which, for the record, I don't know why there's still fall colors. It should definitely be winter now. Maybe I didn't set the location correctly. We're definitely gonna have snow up in the mountains. I don't know why we don't have it yet. I may have mentioned this previously, but it does. If I were to go back and do it all again, and be a real perfectionist about it, one of the things that I would love to exclusively go after and use would be seasonal textures. Because I love the idea of it's snowy when it snows. The ground looks snowy when it snows. It has another really cool detail to it. It just, it adds another something. Now, let's put this over here. And put this over here. And how far are we? We're almost out of the woods. For now. We're going to be adding more shortly, but... Oh, I'm going to need to delete all these trees again. I've been putting trees right on top of where they're not supposed to be to get them out of the way. That's not what I want. That doesn't make things any easier. It's over there. We're having quite a canopy. I guess that's fine. These big leaf maple trees are really good at leaning out over the track because they've got such an enormous canopy. I definitely need to go along the edges and put some shrubberies in there. This grass is not nearly thick enough or goes distant enough to hide the fact that it's just a kind of blank and bland forest in there. The other thing I need to do is put ballast down. And I put a derail in. That was one of my attempts to get the AI working right. Which, admittedly, it sort of helped a little bit. But it absolutely did not solve the problem, because there is a much larger problem than something that I could just fix with a little bit of tweaking to the map. Not really sure what caused it, but it definitely has something to do with track marks. Just the code for them is broken entirely. At least that was one of the things that was revealed on the forum. Which, I'm a part of the forum now. Not really, but I guess I am. I made my first post. I've had an account there for God knows how long, but I never used it until just now. I always thought there was some sort of stigma. I don't really know where I was getting that, but it felt like there was one. And so it was like, oh, you're using the forum. I was like, yeah, I guess I am. I don't know why. I don't know what was ever wrong with the forum. If someone could explain that to me, or why I feel like there was some thing going on, that would be awesome. But if you have no idea, it's okay. We're in the same boat. That's not a me thing. I never avoided the forum purposefully. I just didn't have a reason to go there. I didn't have a reason to be on the forum. I haven't actually used a forum since I used to frequent the Minecraft forum way back in the day. Oh crap. Close call. Actually, I can paint over that. I can paint over that and I'll repaint over it later. Crap, too much. Too much paint over. I lost control. We're out of control. We're losing control. If you ain't out of control, you ain't in control. Alright, let's delete some trees. Far too many. Infinite trees. Infinite photosynthesis. Infinite glucose. Infinite glucose. Alright, so we'll put this somewhere where it can be in the way. Like down here. I should put something over here. But then again, it should just be a grassy hill, nothing that special. It's not like it was carved out of rock, it was fill. Probably dirt fill. Alright. What else? So just put this over here. And now we'll do some more deforestation. I'm thinking of the forestry sound from over there. Or, even better, thunk, 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 pop. Thunk, 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 thunk. Yeah, speaking of which, Building Podcast. Building Podcast is going to come back, I think. If the server can handle it. If the new server, run by Skiryoshi, can handle it. Or Furfag, sorry. Okay, we're getting there. This looks a hell of a lot better than it did before, and I think the power lines actually add something. I kind of wanted to avoid them because they feel like they always feel like they're going to be an eyesore, but we live in a world, effectively I'm building this to be a real world, and yeah, some things might be eyesores, but at the same time, you gotta look at them and go, oh yeah, that's right, that's real. More or less. It belongs. Alright, so we've got one of two, well, we've got 2 of 3, I guess, technically, lines done. I do need to fill in these little gray bits with some form of grass, and then paint over them with some form of trees, or place trees all over them. But I will do that by moving trees. Oops, ow. Moving very blurry, strange trees. Alright. We don't want to do it with just big trees, though. We need to keep some little guys as well. Well, birch trees just being generally little guys. I don't necessarily mean we need to make them tiny birch trees. Alright, now we've gotten farther away from that. We can just clear the line. I mean, I'm cutting back a little bit more than I did previously because this is not the olive branch. This is a main line. And it may be the VMR, but it's still a main line. It's one of the VMR's rare stretches of 2-track, double track, so it matters. It's important. Alright, now we need some dirt, or whatever I've been using as ballast. Here it is. Though technically I haven't been using it as ballast, I've just been using it as the stuff underneath the track. Because I feel like in a lot of cases we are so tempted to use ballast underneath, but ballast wouldn't necessarily belong there. You wouldn't have that much dirt and rocks underneath the railroad track. I mean, maybe, or you wouldn't have that much gravel underneath the railroad track. Maybe you would, but I don't think you would. It's just going to be dirt. Because the track already has ballast. Where do you have track with ballast? Is this area not of the 5-meter grid? Because if it doesn't, that's disappointing. I think all the new tiles do. This one might not. These tiles might be too old. Then maybe then again I'm underestimating the amount that the 5-meter grid would help me here. Or I'm overestimating it. Looking good. Could always use more grass, but so far, looking good. Okay, what else are we going to do? So we made it to here. We've actually made it out. We have some scenery. I want to get this to the sea, but I'm a little bit done with grass and trees for today. Let's do some water. Let's play with water and terrain. Alright, so we have the beginning of this. I actually think I did this already and then lost my progress somehow by doing it on the wrong version or something. Let's see. If we do this, that means that's kind of a dead end. Then again, so is everything else, except for this, which runs off. Oh, this area didn't get worked on either. I mean, it's got to end at some point. It's just an estuary. It's not really a delta. Like, this runs off the map, but that's because this is almost... That almost feels like a delta or the end of a river or something. Where this just ends. I wouldn't be upset if we had something that goes like this. But that'd be it. That would have to be it. So let's thicken that slightly so that we can do some work on it. Extra thick. this way a little bit. And then let's raise some land right around here. Right around here. Just slim that down a little bit. Because I'm really less worried about the rest of this being perfect, being excellently estuary-y. It just is the way it is. And I think I'll put a little rise here, and here I can honestly just leave as is. The only thing I really want to do is just add some more height over here. But I don't really, because this is the edge of the map and I don't want it to be seen. So, we've got to extend this highway to the edge of the map once more, which we've already done a couple of times, but new situation. Actually, I don't know why you wouldn't just go up here, where it's flatter. Although it's not really flatter. It's just slightly higher. What if I get rid of this? Yeah, that looks fine. Flatten that. Flatten this. Flatten that. Doesn't look all that bad. It's pretty friggin' distant from the railroad tracks, as is. It's just to get it out of the way. That's all it's doing. So we have the estuary down. So actually, okay, next thing I want to work on, I do want to do some fun stuff. I want to do some track work. So this switch is supposed to go to a quarry. And maybe a creamery, which are both going to be over here somewhere. I might put another lighthouse down here, which we could totally do for this shipping channel. But there's going to be definitely not a railroad track to it. We just have this. So that said, we need some track, which we already have. I do want this to be straight, so that's better. Straighten that out. I want to go in this direction. There's a rise here, though, that we have to get over. So I'm actually going to pull this towards me here until it goes under, like so. Don't break. Alright, switch is not broken, that's good. Let's raise this slightly. Good enough. So we're going this way. Quarry should probably be over here. This slope, but it's high enough. I want it to be a relatively small thing, not like the quarry in the Iron Horseman. Just a small little sand pit or something like that. Very small. Maybe a second section over here. And the tracks are just going to pull up to here. And like I said, there's probably going to be a creamery over here. which is going to be the dead end. It's going to be the farthest, what direction is this? This direction. Farthest towards the estuary from Bellington. That would be east. Just want to go this way. We do need to get around everything. By everything I mean all the hills and whatnot in a sensible manner. Without too many crazy grades. We do need to get down from here. Down to where this is. Which will pull up the track there. Straighten it. And now we have a rough sort of how we're going to get there. But, like I said, we need to work it out with the idea of, okay, we've got some terrain in the way. So, I need at least one more spline point, probably right there. Straighten that out. Pull this in this direction. Over this rise. And this is pretty flat, I think. Here's the thing though, we need gradients on. Gradients. Yeah, that's way too steep. This is way too steep. All of this is too steep. So, for starters, we need to raise this. And I'll give this like a 0.7% grade and we'll see how it helps. Okay, it did help. Why is it different if I zoom out? But I could give this one 1, 2. Okay, how about a 0.9 for all this? See, somebody else paid for this. Okay, so if we do a 0.9 for this one, which it's not letting me do, but then a negative 0.9 for these guys, what we can do is figure out on the other side of this, when we get down, how high this is actually going to be. And the answer is that high. Which, that's not outrageous. This is not that high. So, if we have our stub tracks there, which are kind of on a ledge, this is not the end of the world. Yeah, that's fairly reasonable, I figure, all things considered. Fairly reasonable. But the other thing is the connection to this creamery, which is a little bit more of a pain in the butt. It's over here. The smartest thing I think to do would be to come this way and hug the edge of this a little bit and link up with it here. That would mean coming this way on a rather tight corner. Not that it really matters. This straightened? Yeah, freaking better be. it wasn't straight, it would have looked awful. Yeah. Okay. Okay, this isn't all bad. This isn't actually that bad at all. So, pull that out. Push this spline point to more or less the middle. We definitely need to get some sane gradients on this. So, like, that is really tight, actually. Oh boy. Pull this back. Okay, that's fine, I guess. Where is this going? Is this going up or down? This is negative 130. If I turn this into negative 0.9, I'm using 0.9 because that means if it falls out a little bit, it's still generally probably going to be okay. It falls out of line a little bit. Which direction is this gradient being measured in? Yeah, we should definitely get like this vertex height, which is 3.43, and this one, which is 6.46, and pick something in the middle, like 4.5. Just do that. Is that? No, it does. That does not quite fix the gradients. How about a couple of negative 0.9s to sort us out? Whoops. Other direction. No, that doesn't work. Good. A little bit of a climb to get out of there, but it's a creamery, so it's not like you're going to be hauling a whole lot. So there, we've got a couple of these little industries. Honestly, I probably should have put the siding here and not right here. I didn't realize how steep that gradient was. Maybe I'll do that as well and just leave that spur for something else. Leave it for storage. Remove the gradient on that and this. Grab this height and apply it to, nope. But this height. And apply it to there. That works a hell of a lot better. The thing with creameries is they had these double-ended sidings almost always, and they would always be just right off the main line. This is neither, which would imply it's a little bit more important. So, we should probably have something else going on here. Maybe a little tiny town of a half dozen buildings. We almost definitely need to run around somewhere. So probably right here. Sorry that I'm sniffly. Sorry about that. Yeah, we can get sand out of this place. Let's see, what's a good sort of depth for this? Right down. Turn up the sensitivity a little bit. Oh, we put water here? Well, there's the water table, folks. You can have part of the quarry that's flooded. supposed to be just a sand pit. Must be a real pain having one of these this close to the ocean, though. Where all that good sediment comes from. We need to build a little ramp to get out. Put a couple of Ford Model A's as trucks. Maybe a steam shovel. That'd be a good one. A steam shovel in there. Alright, so this is -5. How about a -10 for the other portion? We need to think about why this thing would be the shape it is. We just sort of picked a random orientation for it. Maybe we can level a nearby hill as well, just to show where they've been taking stuff from. And let's cut this off from the surrounding water as best we can. Make sure that we've done it properly, because if we don't, this is going to screw up badly. Thank goodness we have an undo button. Good, have we lowered that, not the whole ocean? Good. Yeah, that's good. We do need a ramp, so we're going to use our old friend, the terrain track. Oh, turn this on 0. Go to that and do that. Yep, that would work. I'm actually going to do this here instead for this one. Does that make sense? Maybe we can have a pump house or something. The other thing I want to do is I do want to level this hill just to show what's been going on. And we will not be putting forest or anything on this hill. Or where this hill used to be. They're probably going to expand in this direction, and that's why this hill got leveled. Maybe we boxed it off. Maybe they squared it a little bit. So this way and then this way. Just to look even more man-made. And we'll make that all sandy. Make that area sandy. We'll put some sort of thing here up on top of the tracks to load cars. We'll see if we have a purpose-built industry that works for what we're trying to do. If not, I'll just use multiple industries. Alright, grab that, apply it. Make sure these two tracks are the same. Grab this and apply it. So those two are the same height. Anyways. Yeah, I hope you have a little building that goes with it. Oh, this needs to be straightened, huh? There we go. Nope. Straighten it. No. Straighten it. Come on, you can do it. There we go, much better. This switch is still very, very tight. Oh well, that's industrial switching for you. Or whatever this is. Whatever you want to call this. So the other thing I want to do, I want to flatten this too. This area right here. I don't know what I'm going to use this siding here for. I could make it a nice stubby little runaround track that only fits a couple of cars. Because honestly, how many are you going to need here? 6 in total for the sand pit. We do need to have a way to get around the train. Whatever the train is. However long it is. I guess we just put it on this because this is nice and straight. We probably extend that a little ways this way, but I'll commit the same folly that I committed in Olive and just make the stub long enough for the engine. Which, admittedly, on such a small area, should not be that much of a problem. If you can't figure out how to work around it, you should probably spend some more time with switching puzzles. Okay. So we've got that, we've got this. I don't even know what's going to be here now, but I know there's going to be something. Like I said, a creamery, this, and probably just a couple places for workers, or maybe like a general goods drop-off or something. Maybe an oil drop-off for the machinery here, which would imply that we need another siding over here. Or maybe like right here. And if we're using a steam shovel, you need coal too. Which we could just drop off in a gon. Which would make a little bit more sense. For a steam shovel. I don't know. It's going to be the creamery and general goods. Creamery is going to be farther down. It's general goods track. I would rather put a little thing there. Make this straight. It needs to be straight. Yes. Another nice tight switch. It could present itself to be a problem, but for now we won't worry about it. It's just going to be one boxcar there, or something to that effect. And then a couple of, maybe like a milk tank car there. I'll split off a thing here. Yeah, that's too steep. much, much too steep. That's something I normally do, but I'll give this a full -1% grade. And then I'll make this one 0 by not applying a 0 gradient, but doing that. Oh crap. I need one more spline point. DURP. Derp. Okay. There. Excellent. Janky track work, check. Bunch of little industries in the middle of nowhere, check. Creamery, check. This check, that check, the other check. Tight turns, check. Something to do out here, check. Okay, so I need T-side. Change pick list, T-side. That's the best buffer. Wrong way. Yeah, so we're going to be dropping off tank cars, probably. Gons of coal, specifically gons. We're going to be picking up sand or gravel, depending on what we need. Depending on what's available. And we're going to be picking up milk. Excellent. There should be something else over here on this track. Oh yeah. Oh no, goods, milk, coal and oil, gravel or dirt, whatever, ground. If you guys think of something else I should be dropping off here, oh, probably food. Food might be smart. Bring food here. Oh, feed. That's what I can drop off. At like the end of this track. Food and feed. Drop off like corn, you know, or something like that. Alright, we got our quarry. That's something I've been basically fantasizing about for God knows how long. It's like, I want a quarry. We might have a another creamery on this side, if the terrain is right, which it is right about here. But there's not really... I mean, there's all this land for grazing, which is what we're going to be needing. There's going to be another one on this side of the bridge. Yeah, like right here. Do I have a creamery object? So we can just start throwing them down where... No. Milk delivery truck, milk tanker. Ice cream. No, we don't have a creamery. How about like dairy farm? Dairy barn. Does it have an AC in the window? No, this is passable probably, although it has a couple of like... I thought those were garage doors. No, this is fine. It looks nice. It looks too nice. But... Dairy Queen, yes. I'm just going to use these as placeholders. If anybody knows some better stuff, speak up or forever hold your peace. Okay, like right here maybe? Definitely one over here. Like rivals, you know? And that'll be for that side. And then there should probably be one over here. Although, yeah, I know there would be one over here. Because there'll be that and an actual farm with some probably grain elevators right there. Like this. Yeah, probably like this. Yeah. Port Kanawa. Wow, that's big. But yeah. There you go. We've got 3 or 4 out here. There's going to be plenty to do on this main line. Plenty to do. What was that? Oh, that's cool. What else are we missing? What else do we need? I don't think there's anything else. I don't want to launch in anything with another 5 minutes left. But, as always, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, especially any suggestions, I want to hear them. I absolutely want to hear them, and I will read them aloud on the show, even if they have completely nothing to do with Under Construction. If you just have a question for me, if you have a question about life, the universe, and everything, I'll be happy to help you find an answer. Other than that, we will probably return to this area next time because I want to get the scenery moving down the line. Mason, talk to me about those bushes. I know I'm never able to do it in person, but it's just... I'm way too freaking busy sometimes. Oh, just sometimes? That's a lie. But, yeah, see, at ground level you can't see it. As long as you can't see the edge of that over there. As, you know, significantly. You can still see it a tiny bit, but that's okay, I guess. We don't go too far out on this so you can see through here, but we're probably going to need to fill this in for the sake of the boat. When we get to that. We're going to need a lot more ocean tiles. Sooner or later. Probably later. And eventually I'll come back here, I'll start working on this town, but this is something that's a little ways off. I'd like to get it functional before I get it pretty. And we have a few areas to work on here, including this, the feed plant, this is a cannery, and this is a brewery. So, we've got a lot going on over here, and in fact, we're going to have a track that leads down this way, all the way down the road, and ends at the cliff here, where there's going to be some drop-offs for stuff, including coal for boats. So I'm probably going to be carving this out a little bit, making it a little bit less sloped, making it a little bit steeper, and adding some retaining walls and stuff like that. But, anyways, I don't have too much else. Show you guys around this, I guess. This tight little runaround that we've got here because we had to have one. And it crosses this road and crosses this road and goes onto the middle of this road, and it'll stay here for some time. We'll probably come all the way down there on that road. I also upgraded to these enhanced interlocking towers because they do a lot of cool stuff. And I started placing these little red things around because this was to help the AI. It doesn't really matter though. That's just the end of the track where I don't want anybody to drive yet. So, anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And the next official release will probably be when the scenery makes it down here. If not, when I finish Mason Valley, which is going to be some time from now, but I'm going to keep working, and I hope you guys keep watching, and I will see you next week. We're going to be returning to your regularly scheduled programming now. Train Man out.